Hey fly tiers, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Matt, and this channel is all about creating flies that hopefully you will want to learn how to tie and fish. Now the fly I'm going to be showing you tonight is a general all-purpose pattern. It's an olive and brown Baetis Nymph. It's a fairly easy tie. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get started. So as always, I will explain the materials as I go and put the recipe in the description. So starting out with a number 14 standard nymph hook. This is a 1x long barbless. I'm going to lay down a base of brown 70 denier UTC. Now when you've got your base wrapped to where you want to start the tail, just snip off about 4 or 5 fibers of Partridge. Either you could use natural, I suppose, but brown or olive are going to look best on this brown and olive nymph pattern. So catch that in about a hook gap in length. Make a couple of securing wraps. Oh, don't let it wrap around the hook on you there. Okay. Check your position. Are you coming off the top? I think we look good right there. Now the body of this, I'm using Wapsi, Spanflex, and brown. You could also use a vinyl rib UTC in size small or nymph. So catch this in up at the front. I'm going to pull toward me and a little bit down because the natural wrapping of this will want to spin it toward the front or to the far side. So when you got that back to the start of the tail, just start wrapping it forward. Tighter wraps at first. This is fairly flexible, and then less tight toward the middle and the front will give you a little bit more of a taper, though it's not that important on this one. If the body was uniform all the way up, you'd be fine. It would still look nice. So go ahead and catch your body in up at the front. I'm going to make several locking wraps. If this thing slips out, it will unspin on you in a second, and then you will be at a start over point. We've all been there. So we got that secured pretty well. Okay, now some Thinskin. This is a half of a width of Thinskin. I took one little sliver, cut it lengthwise, cut a little angle on the tip to help us get it caught in here. So lay this directly on the top. Might want to spin your thread counterclockwise so that it will jump back as you lift up, like that's not doing right now. So another spin right there, and we've got it. So there's one wrap on it. But let's take a couple and then make sure we really have it positioned where we want. Is that laying directly over the top? I think it looks pretty close, so I'm going to go with that. After you get that secured in, put a little wax on your thread. We're going to dub a thorax. Now the pattern I was looking at called for straight up dyed hare's ear. I've taken some hare's ear, just a few fibers, plucked them out right under the ear, above the eye, and then mix it in with a little bit of olive rabbit. That way you still get the bugginess, but you still get a little bit of that olive color, and it's not entirely buggy. So I'm putting a noodle of about 1 inch or so on here. Now we're going to tie in the legs. That same brown partridge, brown or olive dyed partridge you had, take a small end feather, prepare it, cut out a V-notch in the middle. You could wrap it as a hackle, but on this size fly, it's much easier to do this and make your wings like this. So you'll want to lay these in and then kind of fold them down with a little bit of a pinch. And before we get any really securing wraps, get your position. You can position them right here. So take a look at that. Are they coming off evenly on both sides? Pretty close. They're a little bit longer than I want, so I'm going to hold it and then pull this forward just a little bit. Okay, I think that's the length I like. And don't worry if they're pointing too far back right now and not splayed out. A couple of tight wraps and then pulling that wing case over will help them splay out. So you see that? Now they're sticking out a little bit. We can go ahead and trim off the excess of this. I'm going to have a little cleanup on the head there, but that's unavoidable at times. So lift your wing case over, take a couple of wraps right here, and now check your position. Are you wrapped over the top like you like? And do the legs stick out as you want? I think we're fine right there, so I'm going to put a securing wrap in the front of that and then one more tight wrap over before I snip off this thin skin. It's flexible, so pull it kind of tight, get in there as close as you can. Now there we go. Got just a little bit of head cleanup. I'm going to push these fibers up with my fingernail and go straight up to the eye and build my ramp back up for the rest of the head. You should be able to capture most of those loose fibers or loose butt ends sticking out. We got one sticking off from the bottom right there. See if we can't get that one in. Okay. There we go. That head didn't get too big on me, as is sometimes the case. Almost done. 4 or 5 turn whip finish right here. Snip that thread. A drop of head cement, maybe a little bit of cleanup, and then the brown and olive Baetis Nymph is done. So as always, folks, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.